A warm good noon to everyone. Welcome to National Constitution Day. This is a coincidence that today we have our study circle and this very good day on the same day, we have it on the same day. I, Urvi Muda, welcome everyone on this special day. Each country has many rules and policies according to which it is governed. These rules and policies are framed based on the vision of the nation and the values it upholds. The legal document that lays down the basic structure of ruling system of a country is known as its constitution. Are leaders and policymakers the only people who should be familiar with the constitution? All of us should have the basic idea about what is mentioned in the constitution of our country so that we will be aware of our rights and provisions for justice in case of conflict. So this was the general introduction of our constitution, and we shall see what is the meaning of constitution, which are the rights in there for students, for education, for children, rights, duties, and every related things with the constitution, Indian constitution today. I welcome each and everyone once again. I would request Dr. Nayan sir for the same.
Thank you. Namaskar, Honorable Principal Sir Dr. Nagar sir, who is at present busy with the meeting with Vice Chancellor sir, respected Head of the Department, Dr. Kati ma'am, Uru ma'am, Pranali ma'am, Dhaval bhai, and dear students. Today, it is, as Uru ma'am told, opportunity to celebrate our Constitutional Day through our study circle. Actually, under NSS, it was in emergency in the very morning. We received a message from Gandhinagar that we are supposed to celebrate. Within short time, we have prepared this celebration. So I personally thank all students on behalf of NSS and on behalf of Study Circle that you have supported us. Friend, I would like to say this day, 26 November, it was a resolution passed 19th November 2015 by the government of India to celebrate 26 November as the National Constitution Day. For your kind knowledge, our constitution is the biggest written constitution of any country on this earth. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar is to be the chairperson, and he is considered the chief architect of this constitution. The constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly of India on 26 November 1949, and it was in effect from 26 January 1950. I must say, it declared India a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, assuring its citizens justice, equality, and liberty, and endeavors to promote fraternity. We are lucky to have such a big and wonderful constitution. We are very much thankful to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar and his to give us such a big, wonderful constitution where we feel 100% liberty. And it is our prime duty to preserve these democratic values. And we are going to have this celebration through your participation. I can welcome all teachers, all faculty members, and all students and NSS volunteers. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have today's participant, the very first contestant, Kajal Odedra from first year FIBA, who is also ambassador of NSS. So I request Kajal Odedra, who will talk about Chief Architect of the Indian Constitution.
Namaste, Honorable Principal Sir Shri Dr. Nagar Sir, Head of Department Dr. Ketki Madam, Dr. Nayan Sir, Professor Urvi Madam, Dr. Pranali Madam, Mr. Dhaval Sir, and my dear friends. My topic is Chief Architect of Indian Constitution. Dr. Ambedkar played a pivotal role in drafting the constitution of our country when it was still at its birth pangs. Therefore, he is known as the Chief Architect of Indian Constitution. While serving as the Law and Justice Minister, Baba Saheb, as he is fondly known, was appointed as Chairman of Constitutional Drafting Committee. He was already a renowned social reformer with keen sense of law and justice. With an avid knowledge of constitutions of 60 countries, he was a constitutional expert too. No wonder he was asked to draft the constitution by the Constituent Assembly. The draft he had talked about a range of liberty and constitutional guarantees. Baba Saheb is also known as the father of Indian constitutional. Thank you.
Thank you, Kajal Bin. Now we have Sakshiba Jethwa from TYBA, and she is going to talk about India as a republic nation.
Namaste everyone. Honorable Principal Dr. Nagar Sir, Dr. Ketki Pandya, Dr. Nayanta, Professor Urvi Modha, Dr. Pranalini Modha, Mr. Dhaval Rajyaguru, and my dear friends. Today I am going to tell you about India as a republic nation. When we say that India is a republic, we mean that the people are supreme in this country and there is no privileged class. There is no discrimination and the public offices are open for all citizens alike. India does not have a ruler. All the leaders are elected by the people of India and they would rule for a fixed term. In short, the government is a set of representatives chosen by the people for the people. The preamble of the Constitution suggests that India is a democratic republic, the president of the head of the republic. All citizens are equal in the eyes of the law, irrespective of their race, caste, sex, or creed. Thank you.
Thank you, Sakshiba. Now we have Seema Somania with us, who will talk about the longest written constitution in the world.
Namaste, respected Nagar Sir, Honorable Dr. Nayan Tank, Professor Urvi Modha, Professor Nandita Keria, Mr. Dhaval Rajyaguru, Dr. Pranali Joshi, and my dear friends. I am going to tell you about the longest written constitution in the world with 448 articles and 12 schedules neatly planned in 25 sections. The Indian Constitution is the longest ever constitution of any recent country in world. The Constitution India lays down the fundamental rights, directive principles and the fundamental duties of citizens. It declared India a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and assures liberty, equality and fraternity to all of citizens. The Constitution was prepared by the drafting committee. The Constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly of India on 26 November 1949 and came into effect on 26 January 1950. It took 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days to prepare the final draft of the Constitution. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Seema Ben. Now I would call Janvi Bavalia from TY, who will talk about fundamental rights.
Namaste, respected Principal Dr. Nagar sir, Dr. Ketkiben Pandya, Dr. Nayan Bhai Tak, Dr. Pranali Ben Mota, Professor Urim Mota, and Dhaval Bhai Rajya Guru. And dear friends, today I am going to tell you about the fundamental rights of Indian people. The basic rights that are necessary for the moral and intellectual life of an individual are known as fundamental rights. The Constitution of India guarantees six fundamental rights to its citizens. They are right to equality, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, culture and educational rights, and right to constitutional remedies. The matters concerning the fundamental rights are mentioned in Part 3 of the Constitution. It is one of the most elaborated charter on human rights ever framed by any state. Thank you.
Thank you, Janvi Ben. Now from first year we have Pooja Odedra, who will talk about the reason behind the fundamental duties.
Thank you, ma'am. Leave me a smile just warm enough to spend a million golden afternoons in. A very good afternoon to one and all present over here. Dear respected Principal Dr. Anupam Nagar sir, Head of the Department Dr. Ketki Mem Pandya, Dr. Nayan sir Tak, Professor Urvi Mem Muda, Professor Pranali Mem Joshi, and last but not the least, Mr. Dhaval Rajya Guru. So today on this honorable day, I am going to speak on the topic, why does the Constitution mention fundamental duties? You might have heard of the phrase freedom comes with responsibility. Our constitution too abides by this age old saying. With fundamental rights, our constitution makes the provisions for the rights of an individual. It also makes clear the duties of the state through the directive principles. Then comes fundamental duties. Fundamental duties are a set of tasks that are an integral part of Indian way of life. Fundamental duties remind citizens that they should be aware of their duties along with their rights. There are 11 clauses that talk about certain practices that we are supposed to maintain for the well-being of our country. So with this, I end my talk here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pooja Ben. Now from SY, I would request Dhara Chauhan, who shall talk about the role of Constitution in the development of the children.
Namaste to Dr. Nagar sir, Dr. Ketki ma'am, Dr. Nayan sir, Dr. Pranali ma'am, Professor Uri ma'am, Mr. Dhaval sir, and all my friends. Today I am going to talk about what do the directive principles guarantee the children of India. The directive principles show a special interest towards the children of our country. They make provisions for the healthy upbringing of children. They also provide free and compulsory education to all children till the age of 14. The directive principles also promote the education and economic interests of the weaker sections of the society. They promote equal opportunity and justice in form of free legal aid to those who cannot afford it. Some of the policies are even directed towards international peace and security and honoring and respecting the relation between nations. There are policies regarding the settlement of international disputes as well. Thank you for hearing.
Thank you, Darabin. Now we have Hiral Sadia from first year who will talk about the direct principle of state policy of India.
Namaste to our Honorable Principal Shri Dr. Nagar Sir, Head of Department Dr. Ketki Madam, Dr. Nayan Sir, Professor Urvi Madam, Dr. Pranali Madam, Dr. Dhaval Sir, and my dear friends. Today I am going to tell you about the directive principles of state policy of India. The laws made for the people of India should make sure that all Indians enjoy social, economic, and legal well being. The directive principles of state policy are something which ensure this idea. The directive principles are the guidelines or principles that the government is supposed to apply while making the laws and ruling the state. They have been inspired by the directive principle given in the Constitution of Ireland. The directive principles of state policy are broadly classified into the following categories: economic and social, justice and legal, environmental, protection of monuments, and peace and security. Thank you.
Thank you, Hiralbin. To know about the educational rights, I would call Hetvi Dave from first year who shall speak about it.
Namaste to our Honorable Principal Dr. Nagar Sir, Dr. Ketki Ma'am, Professor Urvi Ma'am, Dr. Nayan Sir, Dhaval Sir, Pranali Ma'am, and all my dear students. Today I am going to tell you about education rights. The Indian Constitution already states that no citizen can be denied admission to any educational institute, either mandated by aided by the state on the ground of religion.
Hello. Hello, Hetvi, are you there? Okay, no problem. There must be some technical issues or network issues with Hetvi. So we shall call Shreya Vadel from TYBA who shall talk about Article to Right Grant of Freedom. Shreya Vadel.
Namaste everyone, Honorable Principal Nagar Sir, Dr. Ketki Pandya, Dr. Nayan Tang, Professor Uri Mota, Dr. Pranali Joshi, and Mr. Thal Rajaguru and my dear friends. Today I am going to tell you about Article grants the right to freedom. Article 19 of the Constitution talks exclusively about the right to freedom. In fact, it talks about types of fundamental freedoms. First, freedom of speech and expression. Second, freedom of assembly without arms. Third, freedom to form association. Fourth, freedom of movement throughout the territory of India. Fifth, freedom to reside and settle in any part of India. And sixth, freedom of profession, occupation, trade, or business. These freedoms are recognized as the natural rights inherent in the status of a citizen. In fact, the citizens of India also have the provision to ask for the helps of the state to protect these freedoms. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya Ben. Now I would call Hiral Odedra, who shall talk about the fundamental duties mentioned in the Constitution.
Namaste, Honorable Principal Dr. Nagar Sir, Dr. Ketki Madam, Dr. Tak Sir, Professor Urvi Madam, Dr. Pranali Joshi, and Mr. Dhavalbhai Rajaguru and dear friends. Today I am going to tell you about our fundamental duties. To abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, national flag and the national anthem. to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so, to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, regional, or sectional diversities, to renounce practices derogatory to women, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture, to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures, to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform, to safeguard public property and abjure violence, to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. And the last thing is that whoever is a parent or guardian to provide opportunities for education to his child, or as the case may be, ward between the age of 6 to 14 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hiralbin. Now, as our respected principal Dr. Nagar sir is here, I would call Nagar sir to say a few words about this auspicious occasion.
Sure. Thank you so much, Urvi ma'am. I hope my voice is audible. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so it's a very important day for all of us. The program officers, Professor Nayan Tak, Dr. Ketki Madam, the coordinator Urvi Madam, the ETRP Dhaval Bhai Rajyaguru, and our very, very dear students, of the Department of English. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm joining a little late because we're into an important meeting on examination with the Vice Chancellor and all the principals. But then that got over and then I was with you. So let me congratulate all of you that, all of you are celebrating, the ordering of the Constitution as it were, which of course gets implemented on the 26th of January. Now, as a citizen of the country, I would look upon this day as a day wherein I am given, a set of rules and regulations to follow. Remember Plato, those who are familiar with English language and literature, particularly Greek literature, they know and understand the importance of rules and regulations. And Plato was one who in the Ideal Republic goes on to say that justice and goodness, these are the two very important elementary factors for building a good society. If you want a good society, if we want our country to really grow and prosper, it's so very imperative, it's so very important that we follow the rules and regulations. This is virtually, a code of conduct that we have. The Constitution to me is a code of conduct. It's a set of rules and regulations. And if I follow that implicitly, it's as simple as that. Now, having said that, the question that I have for all of you is, instead of talking about rights, let's talk about responsibilities. What are my responsibilities on this day when we are talking about, the ordering of the Constitution? What are my responsibilities, so far as education is concerned? What are my responsibilities as, a member, a member of the society who understands what cleanliness is all about, who understands, what morality and ethics is all about. You see, there are so many components, there are so many aspects of Constitution. As students of English, please, listen to this very carefully. Your role as a student of Gurukul Mahila Arts and Commerce College, your role needs to be defined and determined, keeping the ambit of the Indian Constitution in mind. And that's where, you look back, you introspect, and you say that, yes, I'm going to be a good student. By being a good student, I become a good citizen automatically. A good student is one, who follows the precepts and the principles of his teachers, of the institution that he is enrolled with, of the society he is affiliated with, to the state he is aligned with, and the nation as a whole. I really congratulate the entire NSS team from the depth of my heart. It's a very, very important day for us. For we gave ourselves a constitution, as they say. We want ourselves to be human beings, right? The difference between a human being and an animal is that an animal does not follow any rules and regulations, while human beings do. And if we have to be good citizens, it's imperative that we follow the Constitution in thought, word, and deed. That indeed is our Bhagavad Gita. Your duty, duty is worship. Work is worship. If you understand that, as a student, this is my dharma. As a teacher, this is my dharma. As a citizen, this is my dharma. If we're able to define it, I think, the country is going to be proud of you, proud of us. Let's make our country proud. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. As sir just said, we should rather focus on the duties more than the rights. And definitely we will be the good students, everyone. Thank you so much, sir, once again. Now I would our head of the department, Dr. Ketki Madam, to thank everyone. Thank you.
Yes, madam. Honorable Principal Dr. Nagar Sir, NSS Program Officer Dr. Nayan Tank, Professor Urvi Modha, Member of Samudayik Seva Dhara Dr. Pranali Modha, College IT Admin Mr. Dhaval Rajyaguru, and dear students. Today is 26th of November, so we are celebrating the Constitution Day. It shows our patriotism. At the closing stage of the program, on behalf of our principal and NSS volunteers and program officers, I wish to express my sense of gratitude to Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Chetan Trivedi sir for his enthusiasm that he provides to all NSS program officers and volunteers. Thanks, sir. I also thank Mr. Parag Devani sir to motivate us for such programs and making our students aware of our duties and responsibilities. I'm also thankful to our principal, Dr. Nagar sir, who always encourages us and our students to be good citizens of our country and do our duties honestly. I'm grateful to our program officer, Dr. Nayan Tank, for arranging such an inspiring program for our students. Professor Urvi Modha, Dr. Pranali Joshi, and Mr. Dhaval Rajyaguru have also been working very hard to make this awareness program a success. Therefore, I thank you very much, Urvi Madam, Pranali Madam, and Dhaval Sir. How can I forget my dear students? I'm really thankful to all students who are always present in all NSS activities and programs. Especially, I thank the participants who have expressed their views and information regarding the Indian Constitution. Once again, I offer my vote of thanks to one and all. Thank you, everybody. Namaste.